So I've been day drinking with some friends and Kaylin today because it's fun, though I rarely do it because I crash out in the afternoon, and that is what's happening right now. So I'm exhausted, so this will be fun. But boy, do I have some hot takes for you. I'm so tired. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Melanie, and today we are talking about popular books that I didn't like. And I've been putting off this video for so long because I don't know why. It's kind of hard to talk about books you hate, but it's also like super easy. But I also haven't read a lot of these books in a very long time, so this will be interesting. We'll kind of see what I remember about the books. So there will be spoilers in this video. I want to call that out. So if you read any of these books, feel free to like go to those sections. If you haven't, feel free to skip those sections. They will be marked. So please, I don't want you to get spoiled unless you're very curious and you don't want to read this book, and I'll tell you all about it. So I have 5 books for you today. It's not a huge list, but these 5 books, some are more popular than others, but I think the majority of them are pretty damn popular and books that have been talked about before. And so we're gonna get right into it. Starting with one I gave away in a little free library, and then I got Night Bitch by Rachel Yoder from it. And that is The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. Yes, I read this book. Did I finish it? No. I DNF'd it, and I did it mostly via audiobook when I was sick. But I know what happens, because I did end up spoiling myself because I wanted to know, and I didn't really care about reading it. And then I went back and read parts of the book just to see if it got better, like writing wise. And so I feel like I can talk about this book in a fine way. A lot of these I've actually DNF'd, not all of them. No, 2 out of 5 I've DNF'd, but they are very popular books that most people don't DNF. So that's why I'm bringing it up today, and I am rambling again. So let's get back to The Housemaid. My biggest issue with this book, and why I really don't understand how people love it so much, is the writing is awful. I'm sorry, I said it. The writing is not great. It's juvenile at best. And the main character is literally simping after every single male she encounters. And yes, I know she just came out of prison, but it is to a point where it is not realistic and just over the top and kind of crazy. And I was just like, I hate this. So yeah. And honestly, she's an idiot. Like, I'm just gonna put it out there. She's very stupid. Like, clearly she didn't learn anything in prison about like common sense, which you would hope you'd pick up through your life, but she is just not smart with any decision she makes. She is not a good judge of character. She makes literally the worst decisions for absolutely no reason. And also, like, the fact that cheating is a huge part in this book is awful to me. I hate cheating in a book, even when it's a thriller. Like, I hate it. And so, like, no, that's not why I DNF'd this book, but it was kind of like the last straw for me, because it was like you're cheating with a married man who has a wife that you hate. I don't care, but they have a kid together, and like, come on, no. And even though I listened to the audiobook, I could still tell the writing sucked. And when I went back and read parts, like I read the twist, you know, that the husband is the bad guy and all of that, and it was like not surprising, but also like not the worst twist, but I just couldn't get over how badly the main character was written, and all the characters, honestly. Even the wife, who is like supposed to be bad but ends up being like kind of good in a weird way. They just were so one-dimensional and uninteresting that, I don't know, this kind of confirmed that maybe thrillers aren't for me. And I know there's better thrillers out there, but because this one was just so popular, I just do not understand. Please explain to me what you liked about this book, if you liked it, because I couldn't even get through, I think, even like 50% of it. But yeah, honestly, like one of the worst things I've ever read in terms of writing. So please explain. I'll do my next DNF so I can get into the ones that I actually fully read. And the next one is The Shadow of the Wind by Carlos Ruiz Zafón. And this was really sad for me, honestly, because I had read Marina by him, which is a YA horror novel, and loved it. I gave it 4.5 stars. I thought it was so well done and such an interesting story, and the characters were so great. And so I was like, everyone loves this book, and everyone like sings high praises for it. So I was like, oh, this is gonna be even better. And I've never heard Marina even being talked about. So this was pretty surprising, because honestly, the first few chapters of this book, I was like, yes, I'm in. This is amazing. I love the writing. And then it just kind of fell flat. It was boring. Like, it was pretty boring. And I didn't care about the plot. I didn't care about the characters. And so, like, this book is about a young man who like goes to a cemetery of forgotten books that are his father shows him, and finds like a book he's never heard of before by an author named Julian Carax, and he tries to figure out who this Julian Carax is because he's never heard of him, and he learns that there's like someone trying to destroy all of his books. So he wants to like unravel the mystery behind Julian Carax and his family and everyone that's been involved in his life. And so to me, Julian Carax wasn't an interesting enough of a character for me to really want to care about unraveling the story. And everyone we met, because the way he tells stories, Carlos Ruiz Zafón, he tells stories by like, we learn information from the more people we meet. Like Marina is the very much the same structure. But the stories that the people were telling just weren't interesting to me. Like none of it was exciting enough for me. None of it was like, ooh, I'm really intrigued. Oh, I want to keep learning about this. I was just kind of like, this is boring. Like, why should I care about this random author? Like, I have no idea why Daniel, the main character, is so obsessed with this book. And it's mainly, I think, because of a girl, like Clara, like the first girl he kind of falls in love with. I feel like the mystery that she like talked about the book made him like fall in love with it or something. I don't know. I could be pulling that out of nowhere, but I just don't get it. And his writing is like lovely. He's not a bad writer. That's not what this is about. Like Frida, I don't know. I've only read the one book from her, but I don't think she is a writer for me. Carlos Ruiz Zafón is a very good writer, though it can get a little too like prosy, or like flourished a bit. But I was just not a fan of the plot. Like, I think that's the biggest thing. And like, you have to be interested in the story to want to learn more and more. And so it just didn't hook me. And yeah, I was pretty disappointed with this one. But even then, like, I looked up the ending and the twist, and like, the ending is explained in a letter, which feels like Zafón would do that, but that would really annoy me if I was like sitting through this book that's not a super like exciting book. Marina is definitely more of like an exciting like thriller, like horror, like there's a real interesting aspect to that plot. This, no, it's not. It's just about literature, which, yes, can be interesting at times, but the way it's described here and the people we meet are just not strong enough, in my opinion. And I think maybe because I read Marina before this, like, this just wasn't enough. Because I think Ellen at Ellen Made Book Club read this before Marina, and this, she, like, fell in love with how he writes the stories, like, the stories within the stories and the structure. And so maybe that is why I wasn't impressed by this, because Marina is just so much more of like an exciting plot that this just, yeah, completely fell flat for me. And I really did not like or appreciate how he wrote women in this book. The main character, Daniel, is very like lusty, kind of views all the women he comes across in like a lustful way or in like a sexual manner. And like the other women we come across, not all of them, but like the majority of them are seen as very like kind of sultry or like, you know, mysterious women. And like, it feels very like male gazy. you know? And I don't know, it just didn't sit right with me either, which I didn't really get those vibes in Marina, so I don't know. I don't know which one came first, honestly, what he wrote before the other. But yeah, I couldn't finish it. Where did I leave off? The bookmark is still in the book even. But I made it pretty far, so I gave it a good try. I made it to 250 pages, which is, I think, like basically half the book. Oh no, more than half the book. So I really tried, and I did like a mix of audiobook, a mix of physical, just to like see if I liked one more than the other, but I was just falling asleep at that point. So yeah, not for me. So I won't be continuing this series, just because if it's more like this, then I probably won't like it. But I am open to his other books, because I did like Marina so much. I think I just like need to get out of just like, this is about an author's life that I don't really care about. I don't know what the rest of the books in the series are like. I assume it's along the same lines, so that's why. But there is one of the covers that I'm like obsessed with. It's like a big library, so I'm kind of sad that I won't be getting to that book just because the cover is so pretty. But you know, that's not a reason to continue a series. So yeah, that is the 2 DNFs that I'm talking about in this video. The next book is House of Hollow by Crystal Sutherland. And this one I picked up when I was in Budapest or Prague? Budapest, I think. I don't remember. One of those places. When I was in Europe with my mom, and I picked this up in a little bookstore slash cafe, which was really cute. And because I had heard about it and it was in fall time, you know, I wanted something vibey, moody, like spooky. And so I picked this up and I had very high hopes for it. And honestly, the vibes were immaculate. It was very much like earthy dirt, like misty, creepy, like weird things growing out of you kind of thing, like a mysterious, like underworld type mysterious area that was very mossy. So like the vibes were like perfect for what I wanted, but the plot, and my biggest gripe with this book is that it spoils its own twist like early in the book. And like, I don't know if that was like intentional, but like it would have been so much more impactful had they not like explicitly like suggested that what they were. Like early on in the book, we see a scene where like the dad whispers to the eldest daughter that, I know what you are, you're a changeling. And it's like, okay, thank you. Like, of course they are now. Like, now that you pointed that out so specifically, like, okay, now we know they are. And so there's a reveal at the end still. Like, they're like, oh, but we're changelings. We switch places with the real daughters. And it was like, no shit. Like, you said that already. And so that was like the most frustrating part. I think it would have been so much more impactful had they just removed that, because it was pointless. And whether it was actually supposed to be a twist or not, like if it wasn't supposed to be a twist, then like what was supposed to be the twist? Like the dad being the killer after them? Like, sure, that was actually interesting in the whole like otherworld mossy area scene. I don't remember what it's called, but like that whole changeling thing just like felt so annoying to me that she would do that early on in the book and like suggest that like we were too stupid to like understand what could potentially go on. It's like, it was pretty obvious that they were some sort of creature, or like not the actual daughters, but like you literally had to like push it in our face and be like, oh, they might be changelings, but we don't know. And it's like, okay, yes we do now, because you told us. Also, the other part about this book that I didn't really like was the main character got really annoying. And the relationship between the 3 sisters just felt a little icky, honestly, sometimes. And I know they're supposed to be like changelings and like they're like kind of supposed to be obsessed with each other, like bonded in a specific like kind of supernatural way. But I don't know, it just didn't really hit for me. And like the main character just kept like refusing to believe what other people were telling her, like what her sisters were telling her and what everyone else around her was telling her. It was like, she was just like, no, I don't want to listen. I don't want to believe. I don't want to believe that I am something that I'm not. And it's like, you know, like deep down, you know, like stop trying to deny it. Like, actually do some like introspective work to like see like what's going on if you don't really remember. And she was just whiny and annoying. So yeah, I didn't really like this book. I think I originally gave it 3.5, which was like super generous. I think I now gave it like a 2.5 because it wasn't like the worst thing I've read. And like I said, I really liked the vibes, but yeah, the story was not for me. And I hate that choice that the writer made to like spoil it in the beginning, because it would have just been so much better had she not done that. And so now I'm kind of unwilling to read anything else from this author. But that's fine, honestly. The second to last book, people might get mad at me for, and it's not one I hated. I just don't understand why people love it so much, and it is on a lot of people's like favorite series of all times, and that is Jade City by Fonda Lee. I think it might come down to just personal preference, but everything about this was so mid to me. And I actually buddy read this with Kaylin, and we both felt the same way about it. It was a story about like warring, like mafia type families that have the ability to use jade to like gain powers, or like stronger strength. And it was all about like who owned the jade mines and had the power through jade. And I think the fact that they were like crime families made me care a lot less about the story. And so I feel like maybe just like Yakuza, mafia, like crime family stories aren't really for me, because I just don't understand why I'm supposed to care about the two warring like families, and like why I should be rooting for one over the other, because the characters sucked. The only character I actually liked was Hilo. I thought they did some really good character development with him, but other than that, like Shay, I thought was such an annoying character, and I don't know why she was like the one main female character, and I like couldn't like get behind her. I just like really did not like her for some reason, and I can't pinpoint why. I did like Wen as like a female character, but honestly Andon's story was like cool but like not interesting enough, and he was kind of annoying too. And then like Lan, like the best part of the book and like the most surprising part was when Lan died, and that was the best part, because I was like, oh, like where is this gonna go? And then it just went into more like politics, which like wasn't even interesting to me. And usually I really love political dynamics of the book, and like I enjoyed it enough, but like the other family, I don't remember the name of them or like the name of the head girl, that whole like conference where they were like talking about where things were gonna go from there was kind of boring to me. And my biggest gripe with this book, and yes, I know it's the first in a series, was that there were so many like random info dumps in the middle of scenes that just felt like it took forever to push through to the actual plot. And just overall, like the concept, the plot, the politics of it all felt so low stakes to me. It's like, okay, one family or the other will get power. Like, it's not really gonna impact that many people other than the families themselves. And so, I don't know. I assume in other books it probably expands out to like the warring countries, because we hear about, the other countries that are around them, and there's some like influence there and political scheming there. But like this book just didn't hook me. And like, yeah, I know, like I could like push through it, like just continue the series, see what's going, but I just don't care enough to, so I'm not going to. And Kaylin just like spoiled himself. I haven't even spoiled myself for the rest of the series, but I might eventually. But I don't really care about family gangs fighting each other. I think that's what it comes down to. And yeah, I don't think her writing was amazing. I don't think it was bad. I just don't think it was for me, like her style of writing. So that's that. You can be annoyed with me or not, but I don't understand why people love this book so much, like truly. And I feel like I have to bring it down to just like people want to hear about like mafia families and stuff. Like that's really interesting to them. Like that's the only reason I could see why people would like this. But it's just like not like honestly like an amazingly written book in general. The most interesting part I think was like the Japanese influence of like honorifics and the structure and hierarchy of the clans. And so I liked that aspect, but yeah, not for me. Editing Melanie here. I wanted to add, because I totally did not talk about like my thoughts around the Jade magic system, I would say. And I had a lot of issues with how they did it because they made it more into like a drug type thing, like too much jade made you like too crazy, or like there was withdrawal from using jade. And like in theory that's interesting, but like it just added to the whole like mafia, like yakuza aspect, and like made me not like these people a little more. And like honestly I have no problem with like drug use in moderation, but it's also like the way the jade works wasn't as exciting to me. Like I was hoping with Andon, like in the academy, we would like see him do like really cool things using the jade, but it was kind of anticlimactic. And like I assume the series is like a trilogy. I assume the series gets like probably more, you learn more about what the jade can actually do, but like the way it was presented like wasn't that cool to me. And I think a lot of people say that they think the jade aspect is like a really cool magic system, and like in theory, like I said, yes, but I just don't think it really came across like in a very interesting way for me personally. And then lastly, I don't think I've ever hated a book as much as I hate this one, and that is Norwegian Wood by Haruki Murakami. I will go into everything I hate about this book. It's not all encompassing. It is the main highlights, but I am shocked, honestly, like appalled that people love this book, or just Murakami in general, because I heard it doesn't really get better. I heard there's a lot of the same themes in this book that happen in the other books, and I guess some people are like willing to just ignore that part, but I can't. I really can't. So let's get into it. I mean, it comes down to the way he writes women. Like, first and foremost, it's gross. I don't like it. Every single person, female person in this book is hypersexualized. Their boobs are mentioned. Like, the comparison to like children is a thing as well. There's a sexual assault scene that I'll get into more specifics later that is kind of written in like a fetishized way, and I can't. I was shocked, honestly, when I read that scene, in the way like the main character described, or like the author wrote it, and like the main character talked about it, and the person who was essayed talked about it. But first off, I'll start with the main character. I could not for the life of me understand any motivations, thoughts, anything that was going on in the mind of the main character other than how he viewed the women. Like, he was just going about his life doing things. I never understood how he actually felt about specific situations he was in. He just talked about everyone else around it. Like, we never got his actual feelings about anything, and I think that's what drove me the most insane, because it was like, how am I supposed to connect with a character when I don't understand like how he feels about things? He's just kind of like there, and I don't know how to explain it. Like, I really don't know how to explain it, but it feels like he's just there. And so I'll leave it at that. It's just like, he has such a lack of substance, I think, as a character, and it drove me insane. And so like, the one thing I will give Murakami is he is a pretty good writer. Like, some scenes did bring me in, but a lot of the time they felt dragged out. I will tell you that. Like, I could sympathize if the narrator was supposed to be like unreliable, like obsessive, like lacking on empathy, understanding. Like, he just couldn't understand emotion and all of that. But like, Murakami turns him into this like just love-struck and misunderstood, but trying his best to help the girl who needs saving and the girl he loves. But like honestly, as an adult, like reading, like it's hard to believe he ever actually loved Naoko at all. And I think that might be one of the points. But yeah, oh god. I don't even want to like go into all the details because it just like makes me cringe every time. So my biggest part was the blatant over-sexualization of every female, regardless of age. I'm going to tell you that. He sexualized older women, he sexualized very young women. So let's get into the sexual assault scene, because that was, I think, the most shocking part. So this essay scene read like it was fetishized and she liked it. The victim, basically, the way she talked about the scene was very clearly a sexual assault, but it was never said that it was sexual assault. And she talks about like how it felt forbidden even though she didn't want it, but it was like kind of good. It was like only a man could write that. I'm telling you, only a man could write that. And so basically this woman, it was a piano teacher to a 13-year-old girl. And the 13-year-old girl was the one that sexually assaulted the teacher by seducing her, making her feel like confident, and then like putting her into sexual situations the teacher doesn't actually want to be in, but like feels like she can't say no to this 13-year-old girl. And I'm like, okay, come on. Like, who writes a sexual assault scene that is done by a 13-year-old girl to an older woman? Like, okay, sure, maybe once in a blue moon, it's possible, maybe, that it happens in real life, but this just felt so much like a scene that Murakami had like fantasized about or fetishized about, that he wanted to actually put in a book, because that's the way the actual victim talked about it when she was recounting it to our main character. Like, they never address how the victim felt being sexually assaulted, just how it made her feel sexually confused and how it made her feel sexually. It felt like every single female character in this book was put in there to be an object of the main character's sexual desires. So every single one of them was looked at in a sexual lens. Even the poor manic pixie dream girl that was suicidal was viewed as a sexual object that he thought was this like glowing angel that he couldn't touch because she was so fragile, and he just was unworthy of her, but also felt like he deserved her. It was like when she's literally in a sanatorium, like for mental illness, trying to get better, and he visits her, like expecting her to want to like be with him. Yeah, I can't make this stuff up, honestly. Like, honestly, there were so many sex scenes or references to like sex scenes that like weren't actually in the book, or like people recounting their sexual history, that with like every single woman he encounters, that it took me out every single time. Every single time that happened, it just completely took me out of the book, that I couldn't actually enjoy the book as a whole. There was also, this might be TMI, but like a weird obsession the author had with like women having to be wet in sexual encounters. Like, it comes up so much that it's like, okay, this is like creepy now. I literally feel like I was reading his like porn, like what he thinks is like super sexy, like what turns him on. And that's what like makes me cringe when I talk about this book every time, because it's very like, felt very like author wish fulfillment-y, like he was inserting himself into the main character, like who wanted to experience all of these things, so he was like doing that for himself. And like, I don't know enough about Murakami, but I honestly, that's what it felt like to me. And then there's like this girl Midori who like has super fucked up relationship with herself and her dad, and like sex in general. Like she constantly throws out these like random sexual fantasies like in random conversations left and right, and I feel like that was supposed to be like the sex obsessed girl on his list. Like each girl was kind of like a unique subset of like what I feel like he was like fantasizing about having sex with. And so like the book could have ended on a nice note with Midori, but then they had to throw in a sex scene with Reiko like in it, an older woman, like for no reason. I was like, of course. And also something that happens, the main character like threatens girls like with rape if they are left alone together because he's unable to control his urges. Ew. Like, ew. Like, I can't. I don't know how people like this book at all. Like, it was all about what it was like to have sex with one, like, a suicidal manic pixie dream girl, his best friend's girlfriend, a sex crazed girl, and an older woman. And like, that's just like, it literally is a book about sexual fantasies and kind of living them through the main character. And that is really how I read it by the end of the year. Oh, and being sexually assaulted by a 13-year-old girl. Like, the fuck? Like, what the fuck? I can't, like, you can't make this stuff up. So, like, there were some good parts about this book, but like, because there was so much sexualization, and there was just like so much talk about like sex on the female side as well. It wasn't like the main character wasn't necessarily talking about sex, but like every girl he was around was like constantly telling him about their sexual experiences. Like, no girl would do that. Like, what? Like, it just is so, it's so out there and like unrealistic and just so weird, and I don't really even understand what it's trying to say. Like, I feel like this book, people who sometimes read, they think they're reading something like super deep and nostalgic and, you know, like makes you think, but it's really super surface level if you really think about it. Like, this book did not make me feel anything. Even when I pushed aside everything else, because I did finish it. Like, I could have DNF'd it, but this was a book that I got in my birthday book swap from a friend. So I wanted to give him like a real review, but even he didn't like it. And like, I didn't really know that until I told him how I felt. But he likes Murakami in general, but this is his least favorite book. And I think a lot of people don't like this book who do like Murakami, but I can't get past how an author can write this book and still be respected. Honestly, I really can't. So that is my long rant about Norwegian Wood by Haruki Murakami. And yeah, I do not have plans to read anything else from Murakami. You can keep trying to convince me, but I really don't think that will happen, because I've heard it happens not in every single one of his books, but a lot of them. Similar weird sexualization of women and weird sex scenes. And so I just don't think it's for me. So that is my ranty session. I need to take a nap now, but I hope you enjoyed. I hope I was making sense about certain things. I know I didn't really give you a synopsis about the majority of these books, but I feel like if you're watching this video, you've probably read some of them, so you don't really need a synopsis. I hope you skipped books that you haven't read so you're not spoiled, unless you don't have plans to read those books. Please take my opinion with a grain of salt, because everyone has their own personal opinion, and I don't judge people who do end up liking these books, except for maybe Norwegian Wood. I think that's the one I would judge someone pretty strongly for really enjoying, or it being one of their favorite books. Like, because that's confusing to me. But thanks for listening to me rant while I am exhausted and my back hurts, and I didn't remember a lot of these books, and I had to like reread all of my notes from all of them, and it felt like it's been a few years. I think I read some of these in 2023, so bear with me. Thank you for staying tuned. Please comment below if you completely agree or disagree with me. I would love to hear your opinions about these books, or any others that you might hate. Just don't spoil anything that I haven't read yet. But I know sometimes these videos feel cathartic. I think I was just scared to actually do it and say everything out loud, but I'm glad I did. And I've been putting this on for a long time because I've had this as a video option since I started, honestly. So I'm glad it's done. I won't do another one for a long time, hopefully. Hopefully I don't have a lot of other books that I just don't like and want to rant about. But I am rambling even more, so I will say goodbye now. Have a good day. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.